Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Harriet, Patrick, Ronald, Harry, thank you for joining.
Okay.
Mama. Hmm?
Thanks, Henry.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's our sound.
Harriet, thanks for joining. Harriet Ampire,
Hey, hello, Henry.
how are you today? Thanks for joining.
Welcome. Rachel.
There's another Harriet somewhere. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is okay. It's 4 p.m. in Toronto. It's 5 p.m. in Halifax and 2 p.m. in Vancouver. I believe it is 11 p.m. in Kampala. This is a brief conversation on some issues regarding immigration, as well as mental health. And today is May the 9th, 2021. Thanks for coming. So we are happy and delighted to have two community members who will be sharing some of their experiences, but also some of their thoughts regarding this. And so I welcome you all. A few housekeeping rules. You are highly encouraged to mute yourself if you can. If you can also, you could be on video so that we also get to know who is who. If you're not comfortable, if you're at home, if you're at work or on the transit, that is also fine. And so I would like us to begin with a land acknowledgement. And my name is Henry Liombia. I'm hosting this event. And thank you for keeping time. I think because we value your time, that's why we are here. And one of our speakers is just joined. Samali, welcome. So I'm going to invite any volunteer to give us a moment of reflection or silence or prayer, whatever you believe in. Eddie, Harry, Diana, Harriet, Patrick, anyone who can volunteer?
Okay, I'll pray.
All right, thank you,
Patrick.
Patrick.
Father, we thank you for this time. We continue to commit it before you as we talk immigration and concerns. We commit the participants in able hands as speakers. We continue to allow that we have a good discussion and that we will see progress even after this meeting. We give you praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen.
Now,
Thank you very much, Patrick, for volunteering. And can we have another volunteer to take us through the land acknowledgement? Three, two, one, I'll go. So friends, we acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional land, the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit. And today, this land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people across the Turtle Island. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work and live on this territory as newcomers and settlers. This afternoon or evening, or based on where you are, we are having a conversation on immigration and mental health. And we're delighted to have two wonderful speakers, Joyce Mugisa, an immigration consultant and a community volunteer, as well as Samali Nsubuga, a counsel who specializes in immigration law and refugee law, as well as family and criminal law. And myself, Henry Lyombia, I'll be moderating this session. Please feel free to type whatever questions that you may have in the chat box. Before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about the New African Canadians, one of the initiatives organizing this event. We are a small social group. We started as a social group, and last year we registered with Corporations Canada as a nonprofit, supporting people around mental health, immigration, and integration issues. We don't have any funding, so we are totally voluntary run, as well as, you know, depending on working with other community organizations. And in the coming weeks and months, probably around July, we hope to launch this small community organization to support our community members connect to resources. And that's a little bit about that. And so without further ado, let's maybe get into some of the, maybe one or two questions I have for you. What are some of your expectations for this meeting? Olivia, Debbie, Eddie, welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe one or two people can tell us, what are you expecting?
For me?
Yes, Eddie.
Yeah.
Briefly tell us your full name and what you're expecting.
I expect to meet new friends.
What's your name, sir?
As Eddie.
You expect to meet new friends in 1.5 hours? That's good. What else?
I expect to get more information about immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is it.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. Who else? Let's get preferably a female. Now, Ronald. Maybe let's get to Debbie. Debbie, if you are able to speak, any expectations for today's conversation? Okay, Debbie is not ready. So friends, I know we may disappoint some of you because of the topic, immigration and mental health. We may all know that the word immigration is very broad. It can include things like visas, hearings, evidence, credibility, deportation, all that is immigration. But also the word mental health. It can be very, very broad. I wish we had the time to exhaust all this, but really we are going to talk about a few things that are relating to these two big topics. And we are hoping that in coming series, we will be continuing the conversation. So if we do not meet your expectations, we apologize in advance. But also we have some questions that we asked. And so some people have forwarded those questions. Those are the ones that we'll be basing on. And maybe I have a question to start off with. And I'm hoping that people are able to see the slides. Can you give me a thumbs up? Are you there? Are you able to see the slides?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Patrick. And I have a question. Why do so many of us dread the immigration and refugee process? Why do we fear the word immigration? Patrick, I don't know whether your hand is up. Or maybe I can ask, how do we overcome those fears now that we know that the topic of immigration is very sensitive? Some people can call in from work. Some people can choose to be on their steering wheels and park on the roadside. Why do we really fear the immigration process? And how do we overcome those fears? We hope that some conversations this evening will help us get to those answers. And so it's going to be a Q&A. We may not get to everything, but we are hoping that we will try our best to answer some of the questions. Fatuma Najuma, you're welcome. Allow me to introduce our first guest speaker. Her name is Samalin Suvuga, a great friend of mine, a wonderful community member, a mother, and to all mothers on this platform, happy Mother's Day. And to those celebrating, some could be acting both roles. Samal is an immigration lawyer who is passionately contributing to delivering legal services to all forms of clients. Samal has a law degree from Makerere University, as well as a master's degree from Osgood Law School in Toronto at York University. She has previously worked for the Ministry of Attorney General, Ontario, and has a private immigration and family practice law firm. Friends, join me with a Zoom clap to welcome Samalin Suvuga.
Thank you, Henry. My name is Samalin Suvuga. I hope you can hear me.
Samalin, before, we didn't hear anyone clap, apart from now and now.
No need to clap.
No, we need to welcome, you know, it takes a lot of courage and time to give your
we're clapping.
Yes,
clapping
well, yes, welcome Samali, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Henry. Thank you so much, my brother Patrick. I know you're in Uganda. I know it's very late, but you managed to come and show support. Thank you so much. Thank you for today for our immigration Q&A. We are hoping to have a very fruitful discussion this afternoon. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are here today. We know you could be celebrating elsewhere, but you have chosen to come and participate in today's immigration Q&A. We hope to tackle so many topics today. We have had broad discussions with so many of you before, and maybe some who are not here today, but they have informed our discussion today because of the so many issues people are facing, and they're facing quietly. Me and Henry are really, really passionate about people's mental health. I think if you come to me as a client, the first thing you know, I will first tell you, calm down. The world is not burning down. We are going to do everything in our power to ensure that you are fine and that you stay in Canada. We are not here to ensure that you go back. We are here to help. So that is our beginning of our discussion today. And we also have another guest speaker. I don't know why she's not yet here, but I think she will be here. Miss Joyce Mugisa. She's really, really good. So I know you guys have known her in another capacity, but she is a very, very helpful person in the community. And I think she'll introduce herself about that. But we are hoping to really tackle the most important questions. There are so many things that we have already discussed with Henry and Joyce to tackle, but we want all your questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll handle them or deal with them. But we are just so happy to see you all today, and hopefully we can ensure that you get the information that you're looking to get today. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Samali, for that wonderful introduction. And also, friends, maybe a little bit of a disclaimer that this is a community event, and despite being a lawyer, Samali, we hope that this information she's sharing may not be used anywhere, cannot be taken as legal advice. Just like Joyce Mugisa when she comes, or even myself, we are really hoping that you use your discretion to pick up whatever you think can work for you. And if you think anything may not work, then you can just put it aside. And that is very important to note.
Yes, Henry, you're right about that. I had just forgotten it in my introduction speech. My information is not insured in any way, so just take it with a grain of salt. You can always go back and carry out more research. I know I have experience in this area, but I'm not the be-it-all. I don't hand out visas. Whoever is expecting a visa from me, no, I'm not Immigration Canada. I'm just here to help you guide and make the process easier. And again, I'm not going to answer all the questions because some of them may be privileged, maybe information that I cannot handle. I can hand out in public because it requires confidentiality rules. As a profession, I want my license to stay intact. So I'll have to keep some of the things to myself, or you have to contact me in person. But I'm going to try and share the general information that I think can be used or can be relied upon as a step forward to your immigration process and journeys, wherever you are.
Great, that's very important. So we have currently so many things going on across the globe around immigration. People are migrating, people are preparing to migrate, and many we have migrated to Canada, and maybe some are also interested in coming. Given the current situation where the government is setting out these policies to help people who are already here to access a permanent residency, whether through essential health working and related things. My first question for you, Samali, what are sort of the implications of these public policy announcements to those of us who are in Canada and have not attained permanent residency or citizenship?
Okay, thank you, Henry. So there are various policies that have been introduced during the COVID. And I think sometimes I'm like, thank God for COVID, even if COVID is a good thing. But in our immigration journey and processes, it has made so many things way, way easier than they were before. So there are several policies so far. And to name a few, there's one for essential workers. Everyone, I think, has heard that most of the refugees applied and have successfully got their permanent residence right now. But then there's this new one, which is not for refugees, but for essential workers, non-essential workers, students, visitors who have just any temporary status. And I think they're really looking for students and visitors who don't really have, they don't have status like as permanent residents, but they have been contributing to the community. They have been helpful in the pandemic, and they have all the requisites that they should be given permanent residence, but because of their status, they can't get it easily unless they go through the other harder processes. So they have just made the process a little bit easier. They're looking to get people to get permanent residence and not to screen out people not to come to Canada. So they're trying to get as many people as they can. So that was a very, very good initiative by the minister. Then there are also other processes, like, let's say there was one where people who don't have status in Canada, who are temporary residents, can extend their status in Canada. Students can extend their student status in Canada. All those processes have also come in. You can always check them out or come to us. We can always guide you on how to do it. There is also why you, as a visitor, you can apply for a work permit, although that's going to end, you have to have been in Canada by May 21st, which is just around the corner. So whoever is a visitor and wants a work permit, be in before May 21st, because it will be closing by August 21st. All of them will be closing almost by the end of the year, or August, September. So right now it's the best time to actually apply for most of the things. There are also policies like, let's say you had a visa in process in Dar es Salaam, or in any embassy around the world, because we have Kenyans, we have people here, Nairobi or anywhere. So if you had a visa in process, you had applied for a visa, but because of the pandemic, it was put on hold because a big portion of the visitor side visa was put on hold. But if you have a relative in Canada, you have a brother, a sister, a mother, a grandmother, like a sibling that are close relatives, and you can provide a birth certificate to show that you have close relations, you can always ask that visa is got out, is removed from the pile and is processed in the process, because they have given you that opportunity. But it's also ending as soon as possible. So whoever wants a visa right now and has that situation, you can always contact a lawyer who can help you on how to go about that. There are also policies like, they are concentrating on family reunification. Fathers, parents, anything. So if they have a visa in process, you can always ask them to actually process it faster, because they want the families to come together. But those who are in Canada and don't have status, the best options now you have, yes, there are limited options, but if you are in Canada and you have a little bit of, you have a work permit, you could qualify for this new essential worker thing. So don't sit there and you're a failed refugee, you don't know what to do, you're stressed out. Look for us. We will guide you into construction workers. There are policies for you. Things like that. If you don't have papers, check us out. We know a variety of things. Sometimes because we don't know you, we cannot seek you out, but we can always help. You can always seek us out. Even in the hardest of situations, we'll find a way. Some people come to us and they have, let's say they just abandoned their claims and they don't even know what to do. Come to us. We can always try and find a way of getting you in a way to get you something. Sometimes we have reopened applications. Things are happening. So don't sit up and say, oh, we are in COVID, everyone is getting papers. It's not that way. Not everyone is getting papers the way you think. There are still criteria, the things that you have to have, that they still are following the law. They are still following the Immigration and Refugee Act. Even in all those policies, you'll find that you'll go somewhere. If you're inadmissible because maybe you have a criminal record, come and find us. We have solutions for you. It's not the end of the world. You can't say, oh, and even sometimes you don't even know, even your family members can make you inadmissible. You're ready, you're a protected person, but somehow you don't get in your PR. Please find us. There are some things that maybe could be there that we can help. We can always talk to those program managers. We can do so many things that maybe you cannot do for yourself, but please seek us out and we are always there to help you.
Thank you very much. So what I'm hearing, Samali, that there is so many programs, including people who have not yet gone for their hearings, including those who have failed, but also those who are out of Canada and maybe are planning, given the global pandemic that has caused a lot of labor shortage and the economy. So the government is trying as much as possible to boost up the economy. And hence, a couple of months ago, they announced a target of about 1 million new immigrants for the next 3 years. And this year, they are looking at bringing in at least 400,000 people. And that includes those who are here, but getting permanent residency. So my question would be around that. What about those of us who are still here and have not yet had our hearings, but have been working in some of these services, including security guards or PSWs or cleaners? What are some of the options that are available for people like us?
Okay, so if you haven't had your hearing yet, but you are an essential worker, you are in a PSW, you have some duties of PSW. Sometimes you're working in a shelter, but the shelter you're doing almost what PSWs do, or you're working in a long-term care home, but you're not necessarily a PSW. If your employer can give you some kind of recommendation, you can apply for this, the essential worker program. It ends on August 21st. We still have 2 months to go. You can use advantage of that. And once your application is in and goes to eligibility, your hearing is automatically put on hold. That doesn't mean that it's closed or that you cannot get another chance. No, they just put it on hold, see how the process goes. If you get permanent residence, they will just, close your file and send you and say, you know what, you already have status, don't come to a hearing. But if you have, you're a non-essential worker right now, the policies are very limited. I don't think you qualify for any, because this new one, unfortunately, says you shouldn't be a refugee claimant. So if you are a refugee claimant, you don't qualify. But one of the streams has already closed out. The international student stream has already closed. So basically, you may not even qualify, even if we try to put you under any of them. But sometimes, if you really, really need to, and you don't care about losing a little bit of like a $500 bill, you can apply, because sometimes what we do is, it's how you prepare the package that goes to immigration. It's always the most important thing. Because sometimes, that's why I'm like, if you know you don't really qualify, but you feel like you may qualify, go seek out some legal advice. We may find a way of, explaining your situation to them, and you may, by chance, get through, because they really want to take in people. That is their policy. We were in a minister's briefing last week, and they were saying, no, this time we are not looking to exclude people. We are looking to include people. So we have had decisions where it was a shelter worker, does not have anything but had direct care with the patients. That was enough for them to, of course, with a lot of effort in how to prepare the application, she was able to get her permanent residence. So things like that are happening. So you can try if you haven't had your hearing yet. But again, also good things are happening at the refugee board. Hearings are flying, people are getting faster hearings because there's less volume. Paper hearings are everywhere. I guess most of you have actually received these paper hearings where you're just asked to put in your evidence and send it in. The trick to that, ensure that your evidence is fit and proper. That doesn't mean that you'll not get a hearing, because sometimes I'll say, I have a few questions, let's go for a short hearing. But that it's a good step towards your next step. If you get a paper hearing, it's like you're at 50% and then you only have 50 to go. So you have already moved one step. And seek us out. Let's give you a little bit of advice. That evidence, show you ways in which, this could work, this could not work because of this. And I'm not saying that I tell you don't use that evidence. No. I'm not that kind of person. I'll just let you know this is the law. Please, maybe see how you can fit in the law. So that's how we are working right now. But there's so many things that are very good coming out of immigration and refugee Canada. So please look at, you don't have not all of you have to fit in the 90,000, but even if you don't fit, you'll go through the process and you'll still get your papers.
We have two questions, one from Mia and another one from Fatuma. Mia, your question. Introduce yourself briefly and tell us what you have. Mia? Okay, Mia is getting ready. Fatuma, I don't know whether you were just clapping your hands or you were acknowledging. Yes, Fatuma.
I answered already what I wanted to ask.
Okay, what was it in your own words?
She said, in case you want to apply, like if you've not gone for your hearing yet and you have experience of health work, you can apply. But I don't know how many hours, because I started working in December. So I don't know if I do qualify.
Good question. So you see that your question hadn't really been answered.
Yeah.
So she's going to tell us about the 1,560 hours summary.
Yes, Henry. So thank you for your question, Fatuma. The problem with your kind of situation right now is there was that little clause that you had to have work between March 28th and August 14th. Unfortunately, that has not changed. I haven't had a successful application where someone did not have that 120 hours in that period of time to apply in your again, they say 750, but they'll say 120 of those hours have to have come between March 15th and August 14th, sorry. So that is the only catch with that program. Most people are not meeting that, because when people had that, there were healthcare workers were getting papers, they all rushed into PSWs, and the minister has acknowledged that they see this. But again, sometimes it's about what were you doing during that program, that time. If you can show in a way that even at that time I was studying PSW, I had done some placement, I had done this. Sometimes maybe we can explain, who knows? You could get, you can get papers through that. It's about explaining that time and why you don't have it. But again, I wouldn't guarantee for sure that you get it, because the policy is very clear on that. But as I say, they're looking to get people, not to chase away people. So who knows? You could get through. Like for all my immigration things, I'm like, I put a disclaimer, you may not get in, but Again, you'll not know unless you try. So we can try, but I'll tell you, it's not automatic. You're not like the automatic case, but who knows, you could go through.
Yes. The other thing, Samali, I wanted to ask, you said that we contact you, but some of us fear, let me use the word, our lawyers. We think our lawyers are gods. We can't submit our evidence. How do we handle such scenarios where we can't even communicate to the people who are supposed to represent us?
Thank you, Henry. That is a very, very good question. I have, for the time I have been here, like most of my clients are inherited clients. Unfortunately, they come from other lawyers. But the biggest thing that you should know, you are not supposed to fear your lawyer. You are not, the lawyer is not your boss. You are their boss. It's the normal business. No, even in normal business, the customer is the boss. You are paying money in any shape or form. Even with legal aid is paying money on your behalf. That's why they give you the certificate in your names, not the lawyer's names. So it's the lawyer acknowledging you as a client when they go in. So you should never fear your lawyer. I find it so hard when people cannot, when I call him, I'm shaking. Why do you have to go through that? Because that way, even when you have good evidence, it may be hard for you to give it to your lawyer because you fear the lawyer. You should never fear your lawyer. Please do not be in that situation. You can change it up. Always try your best. I know with legal aid, you cannot change a lawyer, but again, sometimes there's really poor communication, and that lawyer, you only have one chance when you go to the refugee board. That is the best chance for you to ever get papers if you're in the refugee process. It's 80% of the time you'll get your papers if you go through the right channels. Now, if after that you only have like 10, even less than 10% of getting your papers if you fail in your first step. So use your first opportunity well. Do not let that lawyer control you, abuse you, threaten you, not give you what you want, make you sign things. They make you sign things like retainers where they're saying, we have given you all the evidence, we have given you all this information. No, they're supposed to explain to you the process. They're supposed to show you the ropes. They're supposed to tell you why this evidence works, why this evidence does not work. Again, they're not supposed to get you evidence because that's not their role. They're not supposed to go against the Immigration and Refugee Act, but at the same time, they are supposed to guide you. You should not be in a situation where you fear your lawyer. You can change your lawyer. Do not ever sit there and say, oh my God, I can't change my lawyer. No. When legal aid cuts you off, you have another chance to change your lawyer. After the first book, if you have the second certificate, if you have your confirmation of referral to the board, so when you go to Kipling, you get that big package. Before you get it, before you give it to your lawyer, and you feel like you had a very bad experience with the first time when you are working together, you don't have to give it to your lawyer. You can go and seek another lawyer, ask legal aid, because now the certificates are broken into two. So there's a basis of claim, the first one, which just to help you put your documents together and take them to Kipling. Now that we're not taking to Kipling anyway, we'll file them online. Then there's a second time when you get your brown paper, you're supposed to give it to your lawyer, and that's how the lawyer will now acknowledge your new certificate. So that's the second part. So you still have a chance, even if you got the lawyer the first time and there was a problem, get another lawyer the second time. You can always do that. When legal aid cuts you off, you can always find your own lawyer. You're not tied to that lawyer anymore. So please change a lawyer if you feel uncomfortable, because this is your one and only chance. That's what I can say. I hope I've answered your question, Henry. If there's something I didn't answer, please let me know.
Thank you. And those are some of the questions I received when I sent out a message to the community members. But you say that we're not supposed to, but most of us do. Why do you think we do so? Why do we fear these lawyers? Before you answer, maybe I want to acknowledge Our second speaker who just joined us, Senga Joyce, as well as people who are joining from Uganda and Sierra Leone and the United States of America. Thank you so much for joining. This is the Immigration and Mental Health Dialogue. Samali and Joyce are telling us a little bit about how we navigate the process with less stress. This is the topic for today. I will introduce Joyce later on, but Samali, you wanted to continue with the question.
So I really think people fear the lawyer because of what they're told in the beginning. So many people, when they come to the shelter, they're told, I'll even just say it in Uganda for those who will understand, your lawyer, togenda woyo lawyer yasinga okola ku byabusiyazi yasinga oyo lawyer yasinga okola ku byaba eyo gundi yasinga ate mugende wa lawyer muju. So you have this feeling that from the beginning wamaanyi nnyo. Nedda si wamaanyi nnyo, singa yali wamaanyi nnyo singa takyayagala gwe nga client. So in my opinion, if that lawyer was really that big of a deal, then why is he seeking you out, a small client? That because you are important, so you should also exert your importance. They cannot, I think usually it's also because you feel like, I remind you now, or they know everything. No, sometimes you bring those questions to those lawyers and they don't even know everything. They don't even know Uganda, they have never gone there. They don't know Sierra Leone, they don't even know Africa. So at the end of the day, they have never left their own chair and they don't know everything. So sometimes when I have a client who had this lawyer, every evidence they took to them, they were like, it must be fake. You Ugandans bring fake evidence. That's generalization. You don't even know what Uganda looks like. So why are you telling me you Ugandans bring fake evidence? Because you had the experience with one client. So sometimes these lawyers, and sometimes some lawyers, they do that to protect themselves, putting on this image, because sometimes also clients, to be honest with you, some clients are very, very rude. Some clients are they're very disrespectful. Some clients will not respect their time. So they're trying to put a distance between them and the client, but at the same time, customer is king. That's the rule of business. This is a business, they're looking to get money. In every situation, they're looking to get money. So if it's your money, you put it where you feel comfortable. It's the same situation. You go to this place, you're comfortable with the seller, you buy the dress. The next day, you're not. So that is something that you have to look into. They fear these people because they are told they are some kind of God. They are not God. They're just normal people. Sometimes they have not even gone to school for these things, but because of experience, they know someone who knows someone who knows someone. They're in there. They have been legal assistants, or they've been, in a lesser, and then they learn through that. So they're not that special. So some of them are really good, but that doesn't mean that. And actually, you will find that very, very good lawyers will not treat you bad. They will treat you very well because they know, even in our roles, we're not supposed to treat people bad. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samali. You drove the point home in terms of not fearing the lawyers, and so we will continue with that discussion a little bit later. The numbers have been growing. We are now up to 30. I would like to welcome Joyce Mugisa, also known as Senga Joyce. A little bit about Senga Joyce. As previously, Samali was introducing her in your absence, that you are a force to reckon with in our community. So Senga Joyce is a recent graduate of the Immigration Consultant Program in Toronto. She's a dedicated community worker with over 10 years of experience supporting and working alongside newly arrived Canadians in immigration and translation, etc. She's also a certified translator with the Government of Canada. Her other roles include being a secretary of Buganda Kuntiko Culture Association, National Unity Platform NUP Canada chapter, and she's a member of Pamoja Shangaza, as well as Muno Mukabi. A little bit about her. Senga Joyce and I, we co-founded a small community group in the mid 2000s called Pride Uganda Alliance International. She loves soccer. She's an Arsenal person. She's a mother. Happy Mother's Day. She's a grandmother. 2 days ago, she became a grandmother again. She resides in Toronto. Please join me and we give her a Zoom clap as we await to hear her words of wisdom. Tumukubireko mu bugalo. Those who can speak Luganda, senga tumukubireko ku bugalo. Senga, over to you.
Thank you, Henry. Nice seeing you and nice seeing everyone. I hope I'll be able to see everyone. I'll start with the word of apology. The last sentence was Henry telling you that I became a grandmother second time about 1.5 days ago. And just a few minutes ago, these people arrived from the hospital. So you can imagine what was going on. I had the older one, their older daughter, and now here they are. I had to do, I think you can imagine what I had to do. Food, what? So I was saying, please, I have to attend this Zoom. So members, I'm so sorry, for having been late. I shouldn't have, but circumstances did force me to. But here I am.
You were a real mother because it's Mother's Day, so apologies accepted.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know how far you've gone. I don't know how much you've done. So
I saw, sorry, let me interrupt. I saw you smiling when we talked about the lawyers not being able to, maybe we fear them. So I'm sure people fear you now that you're an immigration consultant. You are also a translator. People fear you. Why are you feared? If you can talk to our audience about this.
Okay, nice again, seeing and hearing from you, those that I can see and hear. So thank you, Henry. Ladies and gentlemen, so the word fear. First of all, culturally, we are, what should I say? Culturally, we fear people that we think are people of authority. That is in us culturally. And because of that, so when we transfer ourselves or when we come to these countries, still that fear is either instilled in us or we know or we have the fear. So people will first of all tell you, for example, I've been with the government. When the people come here, some of them tell them, whatever you tell them, whatever you tell, whether she's an immigration consultant, whether she's a lawyer, if you tell them your things, as they call them, or your story or narrative, they are going to take it to the government. For sure, there is no way we are taking your things to the government, because when we train from my first training, which was as an interpreter and translator, and later as an immigration consultant, one of the things that we are told to do is to have everyone's, whatever stuff they have, whatever stories they have, to be confidential, to have confidential and privacy. It's one of the major factors in whatever we do. So that fear shouldn't be in you. You shouldn't have any fear in us. Trust us. The word is trust. You should trust us so that whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever you have to do, I'm here to help you. We are here to help each other. So you shouldn't have that fear that I am going to report to you. I am going to take your story, your facts, your things, whatever, to the rest of the community. And that's what I found Council Summary saying, that people would prefer to have other people in the that are Jews or whatever. So what I'm saying is a no. And probably I'm saying so because I feel people used to take their cases to the Jews because actually there were no legal personnel in the community. When we came, we had very few legal people, legal personalities. We had one lawyer, one legal, paralegal, things like that. But now we have a couple, not even a couple, we have several lawyers, we have several paralegals, we have several consultants, immigration consultants, and so on. So the fear shouldn't be, or nobody should instill a fear. Those people who tell you as you come that don't tell your things to these people, to those people, your things will be everywhere. Nothing, your information, take it or hear it from me, from us, it is safe. So shouldn't have any fear.
Thank you very much, Senga Joyce. So the issue here is around trust. We are African, most of us, we are East African. I think building that relationship needs to be, what's the word? Like, you have to trust each other to build that relationship, and things around immigration, let's also reach out to our own. We have our sisters from Burundi. Thank you so much for joining us. The numbers are around 38 now. And I can see someone, I think, from Sweden. Thanks so much for joining. I can see also Mr. Gerard Nsamba, a legal representative. I have two questions for Samali and for Joyce. One is from Fatuma Najuma, and another one is from Miss Harriet. Harriet is asking regarding the Immigration and Refugee Board. What does it mean when the Immigration and Refugee Board states that your hearing has been postponed due to administrative reasons? That's one question. And the second one, I'll invite Fatuma to unmute and ask. Fatuma?
Yes, I wanted to ask if you do request for a translator, but you don't understand English, based on the education requirements that you provided as proof, can't the judge ask you why you did request for a translator? Let's say, sorry about that. Let's say I feel like I can't explain myself very well, but I do understand English, and then I do request for a translator. Can't it bring an issue for requesting for a translator if I do understand English?
Okay, thank you so much, Fatma. I think that question goes directly to me. So, first of all, why do people ask for a translator or an interpreter, as we call them? So there are various reasons why people do so. And since this is actually Mental Health Week, one of the reasons why people would want me and my other colleagues to be there with me is that support, that emotional support. We know that most of us who come from, I would say specifically Uganda or East Africa, most of us, of course, know English to that level, to an extent. But remember the emotional support that we need. Now, since we know English, but I come in most cases, there are, I would say, several scenarios. I could come in as what they say, they might say word by word. which means you say a sentence, I interpret it. You say another sentence, I interpret it to you back. I interpret it back to the member. You know, the judge is called the member too for the RPD. So I interpret to the member, to you, to everyone that is in the room or on the Zoom. So that is, you know, I would call it, I don't want to go into these terminologies, the consecutive. You say, that is one. Another one is whereby I might stay there as somebody on standby. So you talk, you say, you explain, you testify. So when you testify in whatever language you're using, by the way, I speak a couple of languages, so I interpret them. So when you testify in those languages, you may reach a point where you cannot go on, or where you are stuck, or where your sentence is, you know, you feel you cannot express yourself so well, comfortably. Then at that point, you are allowed, it's your case, you're allowed to say, can I, the madam interpreter, assist me, help me? It doesn't matter whether you have had 100 degrees, whether you have you are a doctorate, it doesn't matter. So what matters is that your case is through. The judge or the member understands you, and you are able to push or to say your word, push it across. Let you have whatever you want to say in any comfortable way that you can. So that is where I am on standby. I'm always there alert. So wherever you're stuck, I jump in. So those are the two major categories where I go consecutive, you say, I say, but doesn't mean that you do not know English. No judge is going to ask you, or lawyer, that why did you said you're a professor in back home, why do you want an interpreter? Nobody is going to ask you. It is your right to have everything explained, told as it should be, as you want it across. And before I forget, since you understand English, if you see Madame Joyce, because first of all, it's both of us, it's not our language, our first language. So if you feel I've gone a little bit astray, or the word you feel I did not bring it across as you'd have wanted to, you have a right to say, no, it's not what I meant. I will not be offended, and neither will the member be offended, because at the end of the day, it is for your own good. I hope I answered your question, Fatima.
Yes, Ms. Joyce, thank you so much. You did.
You are welcome.
So basically, don't fear asking for an interpreter, even though you are highly qualified or you are, whatever credentials. It's really around emotional support, but also in whatever language you want. If you hear the question twice, it can help you process the response. Summary, administrative reasons, my hearing was postponed. Someone is asking, what's the reason? What does that mean?
So thank you, Henry. Thank you, whoever asked the question. Sorry. So administrative reasons usually mean it's something to do with the board itself and their staffing, their organizing, their time schedules. Usually it has something to do with the member, and sometimes on a very small scale, it could have to do with the Immigration and Refugee Board, the minister. So especially if the minister is the party, so sometimes that could be the reason, because sometimes they are waiting for something from, let's say, the US to give them some kind of information, things like that, when the minister is a party. But when the minister is not a party at all, it's purely about the board. Either the member has gone on leave, some sick leave and cannot be available, they are failing to find another member to sit in for that member, they're failing to find staff, or scheduling staff has lost the file. Things like that happen, or they can't find something in the file, they can't find your evidence, but there's proof that you actually submitted it. So it's more of, it basically has nothing to do with you. It has to do with whoever is behind organizing and preparing for your hearing to be available.
Thank you. So the
I hope
administrative issues are on the part of the board and not you. And friends, don't forget that we are still having the COVID crisis, and even it impacts the scheduling of the immigration hearings. And so partly that could be impacting on the scheduling process. Great question, Harriet. I have also another question that came in. It was around evidence. Before I do that, I ask that I want to acknowledge a few other members, including volunteers and advisory committee members for New African Canadians, including Alex Kabwama, Harriet Kachinda, I see Mark Lubulwa, Aida Nanyonjo, you're welcome, Olivia Namudu, I think that's it. And the rest of you, most welcome. This is a dialogue on immigration and mental health. I have a question around evidence. They have sent me a letter. I need to submit my evidence and I will not be going for the hearing. But at the same time, they're also saying a minister is going to intervene in my case on issues around credibility. Walk us through what is going on in my mind, or what I'm supposed to do. Does this mean I'm going to be deported? Or I should leave before they get their neck, their hands on my head?
Okay, so Samali, are you answering?
Joyce and Samali. Joyce,
okay,
first.
I could start and yes. Miss Samali could continue. So first of all, thank you. Whoever asked that question, I do not know why you had that anxiety beforehand. First of all, you should praise the Lord for having got a letter, that is, a way forward, it is a step forward. Now, evidence. I think you've heard the word evidence. I know every one of us several times. So your evidence, when they say it's something, evidence, something that is there to assist what you are going to say, to assist your narrative, to assist your book, to assist in whatever you are going to say, to put things together, to be sure that the member hears your testimony, corroborates with your evidence. Now, they've got whatever they've got, your evidence that you sent, and they put them together. But one of the evidence or two of the evidence that you sent was found, probably for those from Uganda, was they believe it could have come from Nkrumah or NASA. So when they believe it could have come from that University of Nkrumah, and you submitted it as, a factual or something that you feel was the truth, was the evidence was evident that it happened, or yes, as it were. So the minister intervenes. So when the minister intervenes, they are there to, when they call you or write your letter, they want you to explain or to verify whether what you really submitted was not Kichupuri, was not fake. So that is when the minister intervenes. So Samali, can you say more to that?
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you, Singer Joyce. We are happy to, I'm glad that you're back. You're here with us today because now as an immigration consultant, I can see that you're really very good at this already. Anyway, I just wanted to say, okay, first, you're not going anywhere yet. No one is deporting you. You should the first step to that is to calm down. You already
I'm relieved
have
now. My mental health has improved.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be deported.
No.
No one is deporting you. It's already a good step that actually the board thinks that your case is less complex, that you don't even need to go to a hearing if they get good evidence. However, the minister believes otherwise. So at least you have one good thing. The board member who is supposed to give the decision is satisfied with a little bit of your claim. Now, when the minister comes in, there are several reasons sometimes. It's not even only about that the evidence is from NASA, but sometimes they believe that maybe the timelines of the events cannot be true. You know, you can say, I was in Kampala on this day, but at some point you're saying I was also in Kenya. In your passport, there is something that shows that there was a stamp that you're in Kenya, maybe traveling somewhere. So sometimes it's just about, you know, just the timelines are just not matching. Sometimes it's about something that you said on immigration in your US visa that you have forgotten about, because usually the agent has done it for you, know nothing about anything they put in. They put in you're married, you did this, you did that. Here you're saying, no, I'm not married, I have no children, I am very good, you know. But there you say, no, I did this, I have a master's. Here you're saying you're not a graduate. So sometimes it's about the difference in opinions, the difference in evidence that you're putting in, or sometimes they have gone to your social media. You're saying, I'm a Ugandan, I come from Uganda. On your social media, there's something that shows that you are born in Sierra Leone. So your date of birth, you're in Sierra Leone. No one knows anything about you. But on your Facebook, you and your family are saying, we are ancestors of Sierra Leone. And the minister has found this evidence. Or in your LinkedIn bio, you're saying, oh, I am a graduate of, I come from, let's say, Tanzania, because my mom is from Tanzania. You have given the story of something already, something that you maybe have forgotten about, but the minister has come to find out. So now the board is looking at both things. Who could be saying the truth? Is it you? Is it the board? Is it the minister? So the minister is also just coming in to defend its position. So the minister is there to just make sure that that the government does not bring in people who are lying about refugee claims. So if you can satisfy, but again, they're also trying to ask the member to make a decision because the member has the mandate. So the minister intervening does not automatically mean they're not going to give you papers. That's one thing that you have to take away from this. No, the minister is supposed to also convince the board member that whatever they are saying is true and the board should not believe you. So it's about who could convince the board better. And at this point in time, I want you to be the one to convince them better, to show the minister that whatever you're saying is explainable. This is what I did. That cannot be true. Whatever you're saying, for me, this is my truth. This is how I do it. And it's an informal process. But when the minister sometimes gets involved, I would recommend get a lawyer, get some help, because sometimes you can't do it alone. Now, in that such a scenario, you have to fight because now the member has two opinions. So it's about who they will believe the most. And sometimes if you're prepared and you have some good evidence, so many ministers, these interventions have been rendered useless because the clients are very prepared. They have very good lawyers. They've done whatever it takes to ensure that they get their papers right. So don't worry, no one is deporting you. You're very far away from deportation at that point. You still have some time, but that doesn't mean that that also you're so safe, sit down and relax. No, start putting together evidence that can support your case, that can query, that can support that whatever the minister is saying is not true. So that's my answer.
Thank you, Samali. Someone just asked a follow-up question, which I think you answered. He says, Christopher, that, but does a minister have to tell you the issue why he's intervening directly before the hearing? I guess in that intervention letter, they specifically address the issue, whether it is identity or credibility or something else. There is usually a reason why the minister is intervening. Maybe Joyce or Samali can complement.
No, actually what you've said it all. Once the minister sends that letter, for sure, there is a reason why they are sending the letter. And go to your legal assistant, go to your legal waiver, show him or her the letter, and try to work out a solution for that, because the reason is given, whether it is identity, whether it is evidence, whether it is certificate, whether it is whatever it is, whether they do not believe you, the reason is always given, or timeline, as Council Samali said, they usually give a reason as to why the minister has to intervene.
You are muted, Samali.
Sorry, maybe I'm mute. To be honest with you, sometimes they don't even tell you. I have gone to a hearing in sometime when I was working in another farm before in 2016, and we went to a hearing that day. I think a day before the hearing, they said the minister was intervening. So that's when your lawyer would have to come in, because then they are supposed to get the reasons and have time to prepare. And sometimes they'll have to push the hearing because you're entitled to those reasons before you go into the hearing. But at times it could also just be, minister is just checking out the process, what's going on. And sometimes they're not really intervening for a reason. Sometimes they're intervening for just compliancy or for trainings, so sometimes it doesn't even have to do with you, but they're just intervening for compliancy, to see what the member is doing, to see what the lawyers are arguing, to improve their system. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you don't have reasons, ask for them. Don't go into a hearing and be ambushed.
Thank you. So we have about 20 minutes to end this wonderful conversation, and questions seem to be still coming. I'm going to take a few, but I wanted also to mention that we will be here. This is just the beginning. We had taken a little bit of time. We're trying to finalize our leadership structure. Friends, I also wanted to remind you in terms of the evidence related to what Joyce and Samali has mentioned. And I think previously Mr. Gerard Nsamba and Olwedo have mentioned that really when we are gathering our evidence, let's look at a few things that are critical. One, your identity. Identity documents, whether it's a passport or a national ID, just verifying that the dates of birth are the same or last name, stuff like that. The other thing, which of course I'm sure everyone has heard, the word credibility. Credibility really is, you have to prove to the IRB that actually you fit the word refugee, that you have been persecuted based on 5 grounds: your nationality, race, ethnicity, religion, political beliefs, all belonging to a particular social group. So you have to be very clear, either in your narrative or the basis of claim, together with your oral testimony. So once those match, then it's going to be a big yes. And then the other thing is around state protection. Sorry, I'm using all these buzzwords, but again, it's around you did not get protection from your country. And so that's why you are asking Canada to support you. Sometime back, I think Samali introduced the IFA. Yeah, I usually, over the years, that word used to impress me. I think 10 years ago when I first heard about it, internal flight alternative, that internally in your country, was there any way you would escape? For example, you are in Kigali, you could go to Kivu. You are in Nairobi, you could go to Kisumu, stuff like that. So internal flight alternative. Did you have an alternative? And, you know, those are very, very important things when you're gathering evidence. But again, Samuel is here, Joyce is here, and you can contact your lawyers for more information. You can contact us for other details. Summary, when you and Joyce and other people shared, some people are tuning in from Uganda, and they've repeatedly been asking, how about us who are outside, who want to come to Canada? My response was, this is usually around here, but maybe you are preparing, you are even more prepared to get this information before you actually come, which we did not have. But maybe you can tell them briefly. We will hold another session sometime, I think in June, for people who are, you know, they need to come to Canada. We have the consultants. Our consultancy, Henso Consults, does a lot of great work, I believe. We're registered in Ontario as well as in Kampala, Uganda. But let me give Joyce and Samuel a chance to respond to the people asking for visas, or those who are in Kampala or outside Canada.
Henry.
Alex Kawama.
Alex Kawama here.
Okay, interject.
Good evening to everyone. And especially for seeing everyone online. Before coming in, Henry, can you take the second question also from Arthur Diego?
Oh, good. Oh, it's related. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Alex is one of the leadership team members. Arthur asks, if the minister intervenes after I have had a successful hearing and I've already received a positive decision, can I go ahead and apply for the PR since IRC, that is Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, has not called its decision? Or do I have to wait? If a minister intervenes after a successful hearing and I've already received a positive decision, can I go ahead and apply for the PR since IRC has not recalled my decision?
So first of all, I would say, why? What are the reasons? Why has the minister intervened, come in? I think before you even do anything or say anything, you have to know the reasons. Otherwise, if you don't know the reasons, sorry, are you muting me? So there is no way why you should not go ahead, since there is no reason why he has interjected. Otherwise, if he says that it's because X is lacking, then the IRC and the RPD, Refugee Protection Division, should then come together, then let you know. Otherwise, if they've not let you know, then go ahead and apply. Summary, is it?
Yeah, so sometimes, okay, so yes, it's very, very important to know the reasons why they're interjecting, because sometimes they're interjecting because one, it's maybe something you have done, something like driving with under the influence. There's a new crime that has come up that they were not aware of. But sometimes they will interject in a positive decision. Actually, it depends on how they are interjecting. So are they interjecting by way of appeal? Are they interjecting by way of a letter of concern? Are they interjecting by way of starting cessation processes? For example, people who had a positive IRB decision, already have, maybe they have traveled to the country of persecution again. So they will bring vacation. Okay, I'm bringing these terms, they're very, very heavy. Okay, they will bring an application to remove your permanent residence or your status because they think you have done something that you shouldn't have done. So it depends on how they are bringing it. But that doesn't mean that they are the final decision. For everything the minister will bring, the final decision depends on the member. They will not do it out of in air, they'll have to go through some form of a decision maker, and that could be the member, that could be the court, that could be anyone. So I wouldn't advise that you put in a PR application now when the minister has interjected, because then it's a wasted of time. They control the process. The minister is an agent of Immigration and Refugee Canada. So once you put in your PR application, it's going to be on ice or it's going to be returned, because they'll say you don't have status yet, or we are doing something, or they may not even respond to you if you've done it by yourself. So I would just say, first deal with the issue, be sure it's complete and you're okay to go to proceed, and then pay your money. Because sometimes when you pay your PR money, sometimes they'll take it, sometimes they'll not refund it. So why are you wasting time? It's Immigration and Refugee Canada. The minister is their agent. So do not do it. Wait for the decision to happen, and they will communicate all the decisions. So you don't have to rush through another decision by trying to apply for the PR if you have a positive decision. Wait until it's resolved. It will be resolved, and as soon as possible. Because unlike in appeals, when they give if you want to appeal, you have 30 days to do it. The minister has 15. They can't do it after 15 days. They only have 15 days to appeal. So they are trying to fasten the process. So that should be helpful for you.
Thank you.
And to add on, Henry, so to add on what Councillor Samuel has said is, please avoid anything that is regarded as criminal, something that will be, because in most cases, the minister is intervening after you've had your decision. Not many reasons, but one of them is something that is criminal. Like one of them, she said, drunk driving. You receive that, you are in trouble. Your process is not yet through. You are driving, drunk driving. You are fighting. You are, shoplifting. You are engaged in fights. You've hurt someone. So if any of they read you those things, or we signed them when we were signing. So if you involve yourself in anything criminal, just know that everything might be, what is the proper word to use? Crossed, or, you could have things on hold or in danger, and then you have to go through these processes again. Appeals, which are costly, time wasting, and so on. You don't want to go through that dilemma, do things, do not go against the law, do not go against, be a good citizen. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't emphasize enough that point, that really, even when you've gained your permanent residency, Canada is very, very strict. If they go back to your records and there is some sort of misrepresentation, the permanent residency can be withdrawn. They can also withdraw your citizenship. Of course, the process can take forever. It's very lengthy, but yes, they can strip you of your citizenship. So basically, the idea is, can we try to be wonderful citizens? We respect the law, and then we will have a very good time. One person was asking, I think that is again Arthur, am I not supposed to be contacted by RRC asking me to hold on to my PR application, since I'm holding a positive decision, I'm thinking these two work hand in hand, IRC and the minister. Good question. So I believe, Brother Arthur, these two work hand in hand, but again, the issue we talked about around administrative issues, they may not be easy. It's not easy to coordinate files in Vancouver and Niagara and Mississauga. What may be very helpful is getting on the phone and asking, okay, what does this mean? Also, engaging directly with people like your lawyer, your former lawyer, contact people like Samali or Joyce or Nsamba or Lwedo or any of the people that we know in our community. Friends, I'm going to close this part of the session and now invite people to ask a few questions before we close. Sorry, Arthur, if I didn't answer you well, we can connect later on. We're just running out of time and we want to give people a platform to ask any questions. Yes, Mr. Kasongo?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so happy to be on this platform. It's my first time.
Thank you. Your name and your questions, please.
Oh, my name is Alphonse Kasongo.
Yes, what's your question or comment?
So my question, my question is just as simple that if those people, my question, it can be out of the,
And you can ask it in any language. We're in Canada.
No.
Yes,
I'm trying to phrase it. I'm trying to phrase it.
Okay, I'm going to get back to you because we are running out of time. Alphonse,
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Please rephrase, think about the question and we're going to get back to you. Yeah?
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Who else? iPhone, your question, your name and question, please. Someone with the iPhone, your hand is up. Your name and question, please. iPhone. Okay, let's go to Alphonse.
Yeah, my question, it was that if these people, if the government of Canada deport me or they push me out of Canada, is it easy to apply when I'm outside Canada when I've been inside?
Is it easy to deport you when you have been inside?
No, to apply again. My lawyer can help me to apply, to reapply again when to bring me back inside the Canada when they have already deported me.
Okay, so if you've been deported, is it easy to come back to Canada?
Yes.
Okay, good question. The other question is, how long is the waiting time for one to have their evidence submitted without the hearing date? I believe they give you a certain specified number of days, Debbie. And what's the longest period to be called for the hearing? Those are the two questions you could answer. Kasongo and Harriet, and if we get time, we can elaborate on King Arthur's. Oh, Alex Kabwama and iPhone.
Yes, Henry. A good evening to everyone. Alex Kabwama here. So my question goes to the lawyers and and Singer Joyce.
Your name, sir?
Alex Kabwama.
Excellent.
Though I'm not feeling well right now, I'm a little bit weak, but I'll be okay. So my question goes to the council, to council, that's council Samba, council Somali, and Singer Joyce. Of late, you've seen the government introducing other ways where you can get your your hearing, let me say pathways and still the court system, right? And here comes a scenario where the court writes to me to submit my evidence, maybe 10 days, so that they can go through my evidence and maybe get any hearing or decision before going to court. And I'm also eligible for the pathway. So lawyers and senior jurists on the platform, which recommendation can you give me? Can I go to the court, submit the evidences, or I use the pathway, which is easier way for me to get my hearing possible? Hope I'm clear.
Okay. It's around evidence. I sort of didn't get everything, but I know Senga Joyce and Samali got that. Let's answer those three, and we'll read one from Ponciano, and then we end the afternoon. Samali and Joyce, over to you.
Sorry, let me answer a question where, was it Ponciano who asked about if you get deported, can your lawyer or whoever consultant help you to come back? So I would say when you get deported, you have to wait for 5 years. And when you wait for those 5 years, you have to apply to the minister. If the minister allows you to come in or looks at your evidence, at your cause or whatever, then you can come back accordingly. You know, it is up to them to make a decision. You may not be allowed to come back. So, but in simple, as a simple reply, that is what I can say. You have to apply, of course, I think through the lawyer, because they are the ones who know the process. You may not know how to apply through the lawyer or the legal assistant that you are using, but it has to be after 5 years.
Thank you, Joyce. Alphonse's question has been responded to. Samali.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know which question I'm answering. For Alphonse, I just maybe have to add, please don't get yourself deported, because it's one of the hardest things to do. Try and stay here in any way possible if you can. So by going through the right channels, the hearing and everything, because it's so hard to get back. In all, things become harder when you're not in the country. When you're in the country, things are easier. So for Alex, I didn't really get the last part of the question. If Alex could just re-ask the question, or Henry, can you help me with the question?
Okay, I did get it, and
I'm back again, Henry.
Yes, Alex, can you rephrase it, but in concise terms?
Okay, so I would like the government has introduced new pathways for to get your decision. Let me say the one who are working in the healthcare, PSW, and other caregivers, right? And a person like me, I'm also eligible, or the government writes to me to apply to send my evidence within 10 days. So I'm cutting in line. I'm eligible for the pathway, and I'm also the government is on my back sending your evidence within 10 days. So according to you, the lawyers and senior jurists, which way, what's the recommendation? Should I send my evidence that they're asking for, or I apply for the pathway?
Okay, so for me, what I would recommend, or I wouldn't even recommend, what I would suggest is one, once your application is in for your PR, through this other process of, like, say, the pathway, the thing is that you're going directly to the last process. You're going to get your permanent residence. You're not just going to be a protected person, but you're going to get your permanent residence. So I would, if I can qualify for this, definitely I'll go for this. And I think what I have done for my clients in the past is who have, like, not in the past, but in the past few weeks, who had this issue, and there was a hearing coming up, but they have applied for their PR, I would inform the court and show them that the application was received or something, because sometimes the IRC takes long to update the process with the Immigration and Refugee Canada. They take long to update them and tell them that you have put in an application, and they should put your refugee application on hold until a decision has been made. So it's about what you want. If you want a fast refugee decision, go for it. If you want a fast PR decision, go for it, because even when you're a refugee, at the end of the day, you have to become a permanent resident. So if you're sure that you're going to go through the PR process, definitely I would go with this, submit my evidence, because then I also don't want to miss the chance. But at the same time, I would think of applying for the other one, because it's hitting two birds with one stone. Yeah.
Councillor Samali, I think what Alex is trying to find out from us or from you is, because I don't think you can apply to both ways. Probably what I believe Alex is trying to ask is, which one is faster? Is it the paper one, or is it the pathway? Alex, am I right?
Not even the faster, but which is more appealing to me, which is more easier for me to win my case, right? There's someone, here's the point from Debbie. Debbie has said, okay, this is it. I got a letter asking for my evidence, and I submitted my evidence on time, but I haven't heard from immigration again. Of late, couple of my friends are facing this challenge, because the court is on their back asking for the evidences, but still they qualify for the pathway. So they're caught in line. They don't know which one to choose. So since some they're online on here, I think they are learning, and they have got your ideas. If you can elaborate more, that would be perfect.
Yes, I think Alex, you bring a good point, and Ben. Friends, we've run out of time though, and questions are just coming in. I wanted to know what we can do. We need to respect your time. We said 5:30. How do we proceed with this?
Continue.
Continue for how long?
Until everybody is tired.
I don't think that is a good one.
Okay, let's look at 30 more minutes, depending on how we progress. We can see whether
someone has said continue for 30 minutes.
Continue for then we can review.
1 hour.
Yes.
Oh, no. No,
I'll be the last one to leave.
Until the last one. Okay, I don't
I'll
know
be
whether
the
that is
last one to leave.
possible. We also have to know that other people have things. So maybe, in all honesty, maybe 30 minutes would be fair.
I think we could start with 30 minutes, and then we'll review if there's need to add. You never know.
Okay, so wonderful. So we can get chance to exhaust, and those of us who feel they can go to do other things, you can gently leave.
That's
I
not
have
fair,
more questions, and I'll be tracking. Debbie's hasn't been answered very well. We'll get to that, and then Ben has their hand up.
Even my question is not answered nicely.
Even Harriet is not answered yet.
Alex and Harriet.
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to...
Even Ponciano's.
Oh, and Ponciano, yes, okay. So we have Debbie, Ben, Ponciano, and Harriet. Great. So, can I repeat this one more time? How long is the waiting period for one that submitted their evidence without the hearing date? Simple question, a simple response. Friends, probably even the question by Alex. Let's remember that all these new policy, public policies are new. No one has tested them. So it is not, we are not so sure whether it's going to take months or years. Like Arthur responded to you, Debbie, it may be helpful if the earlier you submit your evidence, the better, but do so in consultation with your lawyer. I don't know whether that is very clear. Samali, any additions around waiting time?
Wait time is usually you can it depends on your member and the administrative board. No one knows exactly when the decision will come. Sometimes they come very early, sometimes they'll respond as soon as possible and want to schedule a short hearing for you to get your decision. Sometimes they will not. So it takes a little bit of time and we can't really know. But again, also with the pathways, some of them have been coming in very fast. You could get a letter in three weeks, you have an approval letter. Another one takes 2 months. So it's one of those things that we don't know how far it will go. But at the same time, what I'm saying that you still have those two options at least, right? So it's up to you to kind of decide. I would think one, the refugee side is a fallback position, right? I'm saying it's a very good one. You could get your decision as fast as possible and have a peace of mind. But at the same time, if you really qualify for the health pathway, the healthcare pathway programs, the chances are that you're going to qualify for permanent residence, which is totally different. Already you're going to the last stage of your immigration process, almost the second last stage. So if I were to consider, I would think I would prefer permanent residence than a decision on refugee, in my opinion. But at the same time, everyone has a difference of opinion. So I would think for me, it wouldn't be even a question. I would put in for that. I would still keep my refugee status, because once the refugee, your case is abandoned, you can't get it back. But I would still go for the PR. That would be my opinion on that. So
Thank you so much. Someone has mentioned, Ronald, that they are in Uganda, and we need to be mindful of them. Consider us in Uganda. It's getting late. We have to sleep. It's 12:30, and tomorrow is Monday. If questions are many, we can reschedule. Maybe let's give a chance to Joyce and Samali to talk about those in Uganda and their issues briefly. Yeah, this was for mostly those in Canada.
Are you starting?
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what my friends in Uganda are saying, but first of all, welcome to this Zoom forum. So what I believe, I don't know but what I believe, you are trying to get ways and means of how you could come into this wonderful country of Canada. So there are various ways that you could use or you could go through to come into the country. So you could come as a visitor, use a visitor visa, that is one of them. You could come as a refugee. You could come as a student. That is also, yes, as a student. You could come in as a student. What is the other way? So you could come as a worker. You know, we have various provinces. You could apply as one of the workers in the provinces. Each province has got its own way or its own points or merits of admitting workers. So you could use the websites and go to their websites of each province and find out what exactly they need. So you apply through those systems. So I don't know whether they wanted something more than that. The councils, you could continue from there.
Yeah, so it's all about, I think mostly they are looking for ways of getting to Canada and staying in Canada. Some of them have visas, but they don't know what to do. So unfortunately, we can't handle each of you because then you have different needs, and some of you have studied, some have not. So things differ. So what we would recommend is we have our numbers. You can contact Henry, you can contact Senga Joyce, you can contact Council Samba, you can contact any of these people for a scheduled kind of consultation. We can always get to know what you want. advise you and say, you know what, this is a good program for you to apply for. There are things like she said, you could come as a worker, a student, but you could come and you want to also be a refugee like some of people, the other people who are on here, and you want a little bit of advice before you leave, which is very, very important, because at least you get that chance. Now through Zoom, you can get to know people who are here and are doing the work, and can guide you through. So you can say, this is what I intend to do. This, because it can be helpful, because when you come to Canada, you don't know what to do. It could be very hard. So just consult with the people here. Henry has a consultancy in Uganda as well, even here. So please reach out to them, ask a few questions. They'll direct you to the right resources. Senga is already dealing with all these issues. Please reach out. We are also here to help you with all, your legal issues. So that is the best way I can, because we have different needs. I can't really go to one by one and tell you, oh, you can apply it this way, or you can apply it that way. We have more time. We intend to do one that's specifically for you people in Uganda, just about immigration ways to Canada. So we can always give you a number. You can contact us now privately, but there are so many ways, and we have a lot of time to discuss that later. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Samali. And also I'm providing our contact information. If you'd like to get more information, please contact Samali Nsubuga at +1 647 277.
No.
No. Or you want me to give them the cell phone?
The cell phone, yes.
Give them the
cell
phone. Please spell it. Say it out.
647 +1 647 990
647
990 9572
9572.
Yes.
Yes. Can I repeat it? +1 479.
No, sorry, it's 647 +1 647. Yeah.
Okay. 647. Okay. +1 647 909.
No. Okay, let me read it again. Okay, cancel that. Let's read it again.
Yes.
+1
yes.
647
647. Yes.
990
990
9572
957. Great.
Two. One
okay.
And you can check the chat for the contact information.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Henry.
Yeah. So let's get to the last bunch of questions, and maybe we'll call it an evening. Mr. Ponciano had a lengthy question.
Okay, the question. Can we have the question repeated?
I'm trying to.
I can throw more light in case it's not clear.
So the question is a little bit far. Okay, there is a case where a decision is being delayed because the applicant was putting on spectacles in his passport photo appearing in his passport. The investigation is as to establish the applicant's identity. It's been over a year. Should the lawyer write to find out what the status is, or continue to wait? A year is too long a period just to prove identity.
Yes, your lawyer should ask. You should try to ask what's going on, and try to schedule it, because that's too long. For now, it used to be long. It used to be 18 months, but now they don't have a lot of work at this point in time. So your lawyer should really be pushing. Actually, they even if it was the last time for one issue, that shouldn't be this long. They should really deal with it and have it done and away with. Call your lawyer, ask them to at least write to them, contact them, and find a way to get this issue done. You can't wait another year.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. The other question, I think, was from Ben. Ben had their hand up. Ben, you're now next, if you're still around. Ben is gone. So Debbie, I believe, Arthur responded to Debbie and said, I got a letter asking for my evidence and I submitted my evidence on time, but I haven't heard from the immigration again. It's now close to 6 months and I'm getting very stressed because it's been so long.
Well, again, talk to your lawyer, ask for what's going on. They will always respond to your lawyer.
Yeah. And if the lawyer can contact them on your behalf, again, friends, like I said, these things are new. People are working from home, even at IRB and RPD. And so the very important thing is to communicate. Call, email to find out. They're also human beings and they've been impacted by the case loads and the pileup. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's it. Harriet's question, I don't seem to see it. Harriet, if you're still here, could you please ask your question? Oh, no, not
it was
now
answered.
or now. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Leombia. The first question was answered about the period to wait for your hearing. It was answered.
Okay.
Unless you want to answer my second question about the 750 hours.
Okay, there were so many. So do you want to ask what is it about the 750 hours?
Yeah, are they considered? Can you apply for that if you have like 750 hours, though you didn't work between July and August? Between March and August, can you still apply for the pathway? That's my question.
Good question. I know Samali and Samba have handled these cases before. Any comments?
Okay, thank you. I think she
excuse me, your name, introduce yourself, sir.
Geraldine Samba. So the question to Harriet,
yes.
Can you apply for the pathway when you didn't work between March to August 2020? Well, based on the legislation, you may not, but everyone has his own luck. I always tell people, never fail to try. You just have to submit the application and put in the details that what you've been doing during that time and leave it to them to make a decision. That way, you know, at least you tried, but it never worked. But if you don't try, you're always going to ask yourself, you know, if I had tried, probably I would have been a permanent resident by now. So just give it a try and let them make a decision for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Can't emphasize enough on that.
Me too. I emphasize that. I think we had answered it in the beginning. Yeah, just try and put in. Again, I would advise that you consult with that because it doesn't fit in the right channels. So I would advise, talk to us, talk to the consultants, talk to whoever you feel comfortable with to help you in how to package such an application to maximize your chances. Just don't put in because you're just putting in. Maximize your chances on how to explain, because sometimes the way you explain is not what they want to hear, and how direct it could be, that could help, that could make a difference. Go to Nsamba, go to me, go to Joyce, go to anyone who you feel comfortable with and ask them to help you package that application, so that by the time you reach it, it goes to that officer. The officer has a lot of information in their hands, and they cannot deny you just because they are denying you, but at least they have really looked into what you're saying to them. That's what I would advise.
Thank you, Samali. I have another question that came in earlier on, and it's a scenario question. Allow me to read it for you in a moment. I'm going to invite Joyce, Samali, and Gerard to respond. And it's around lawyers from different communities. Some of us want, let me put it, white lawyers. Others, we think they are going to get us everything. So the question is, Otieno comes from Kisumu, Kenya, and believes getting a lawyer from the dominant culture will help him get a positive hearing at IRB. Kamau does not have confidence to tell his lawyer, Mr. Smith, that about what happened to him while in detention. He fears the lawyer. Why does Kamau have such a belief that white lawyers are better than those from his own culture or community? Samali, Gerard Nsamba, and Joyce.
Let me try that. I think one reason will be colonial mentality. People have this whitewashed, mentality, thinking that only white people are the best lawyers, which is wrong. And I'll tell you why. Because if every time you're being represented by someone who does not know who you are, your interest, someone who never been a refugee, for example, you're a refugee and you want to be a Canadian, but you're being represented by someone who never been in that situation. There's so many information or evidential information you give to that person, and they will disregard them because they will think, that's garbage. Oh, that's fake. But we, Ugandans or Kenyan who came here as refugees, we've been in this system. We know how the system works. So we'll find a way to work with you in a comfortable manner so that we can forefront your best interest rather than just dismissing you or have this barrier between us. Two, having someone who speaks your language is really significant. And I will tell you what, there are many cases I have been a leading counsel on those cases, and we have interpreters. But you hear these interpreters translating, some of the context wrongly, and then you have to interject. Tell Your Honor, that's not my client what he's saying, or Mr. Member, that's not what the client said. Or even the member themselves, they'll misunderstood the nationality of the applicant. They will start saying, oh, Nigerian, Ugandan, this, when the applicant doesn't even belong there. So when you know your client very well, you speak their language, you know their culture, you actually give them the best service you can give to them, or the best service they deserve, in order to have the justice they need to have. Otherwise, if you just have someone who completely know nothing about who you are, where you come from, it becomes difficult. But some people, they prefer that. And at the end of the day, you see them coming crying. My lawyer told me we come here to lie. Those cases are there. But you never come to me, somebody from Africa, and I tell you, oh, you came here to lie. No, I cannot say that. Because you know why? I've been in the same system that you're going through. But this will never be in that system. So please, disregard that white mentality. Always look for someone who can be like you, someone who will be in the system like you, someone who can represent you at the level you need to be represented. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Gerald Nsamba. I can't add anything on that. Joyce.
Okay, thank you, Henry. So, thank you, Council Nsamba. What Council Nsamba has said is absolutely correct. So this whitewashed mentality, whereby we think the white know it all, the whites understand, the Jews are the ones who control everything, that one, we must let it go. Let's go with talk to someone where that someone knows your culture, knows the lingo that we use in our countries. For example, you don't have to waste time talking about the boda to the legal consultant that you are talking to the lawyer. They will exactly know what you're talking about. I had a case about, I had to write affidavits about, for example, the Sabini and the Sebei. So the lawyer was saying, what I'm seeing is there are no Sabini, it is the Sebei. So it had to take us time where I had to write actually an affidavit to the courts of law to say actually these are one person. The Sabini is the Sebei. So what I'm trying to bring out is get somebody from your cultural background, from that we know exactly that is being talked about, and they don't have to, beat about the bush. They don't have to look for these things. They don't have to pay Joyce to make affidavits because the government of Canada had to pay me to write this affidavit, to write my credentials and so on, so that they determine that actually the Sabini, for example, and the Sebei are one person or the same people. So go back to people who know your cultural background, they know your community, they know your society, they know the lingo that is being used. And also, sometimes I don't blame these people sometimes so much. As I said in the beginning, we did not have legal representatives just a few years back. So like the time we came, those who came about 10 years ago, we had about 2 or 3. Maybe that is even too much. So from then on, we had some Nigerians and a few of the Nigerians, but then I don't 100% blame them. But as the council said, people always think the whites know best. The whites know best. They think what they say is the truth, but no, remember, they don't know what our culture is. They don't know what our community is. They don't know what our society is. They don't know what the Rolex is. They don't know how, when I talk about the torch, they don't know that when I say, then we use the torch, they think I burnt the house down, whereas I mean the flashlight. They don't know what we say, what we use. Sometimes we confuse them or they confuse us. We try to tell them this. So in other words, now what you're trying to say, go for the person that will understand you, that you understand what you're saying, what they mean, and probably be able to transmit or to say best according to what you're saying, so that they relate better either to the judge or to the member, so that you are well represented. They know exactly what you're standing for, what you mean, where you are coming from, other than you thinking, no, the Black person doesn't know. No, the other lawyer is better than the other one. No, maybe the Nigerians know how to put in this. No, every legal representative is in their own way, in their own capacity, are able to represent you as they should, because everyone wants to do the best job they can. So that was what I would say about the white lawyers and Mr. Othieno, or what was his name?
Otieno, yes.
Mr. Othieno, what he thinks about having the white lawyers as compared to the indigenous lawyers.
Thank you. Yes, somebody.
Mine is also just to add, I think all the points are great, but I also want to add that you shouldn't be deceived. Very many cases have been lost by those white lawyers. It's just that you never get to know. People don't tell you that my white lawyer has made me not get my hearing. So many times I've read those decisions. I really work a lot with appeals and judicial reviews. Even Council Samba will tell you this, but I have read so many decisions where the white lawyer just failure in communication is the reason why they didn't even give you papers, because you couldn't express yourself to them, because you couldn't even communicate to them. That is the biggest reason why they will fail you, because they don't understand you. They always think that we are not genuine. There's that general perception. They are good in their ways, but because I can understand you, you can even explain to me something in Luganda and I will understand it in your own local language, what you can do to them. So I feel like I can tell you in our local language, this, what you mean is not what you're saying, but it's not what it's going to translate. That's something that you get from us, the indigenous lawyers, than what you would get from the white lawyer. The white lawyer is going to go in black and white. It's black, it's white, it's not, no way out. In my opinion, I'm like, oh no, maybe you're meaning this, or maybe there's another meaning, because there are so many Luganda words with 10 meanings. And you can go to a hearing and they are meaning, they interpret it to be one meaning when you're trying to mean something else. So that has happened so much. The white lawyer is, I'm not saying they're bad lawyers, but I'm saying that please, especially when you're fearing them, that means that's a bad sign. Look for a more indigenous lawyer. Mr. Othieno, please leave the white lawyer, because then you're going to hit a snag later when you can't even turn back. So that's what I would add. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samba, Mrs. Nsubuga, and Miss Mugisa. And to everyone who has attended, this has been a very wonderful discussion. The questions have kept on coming, but we've run out of time. I have Mr. Frederick. I think I'm just going to give him a couple of seconds. I've also seen a question that came in later on, but unfortunately we may not take it. It's a comment from Arthur and maybe Galaxy about the psychological assessment. So let's hear from Frederick, and then we will wrap up. Frederick, your name, full name and question or comment.
Yeah, my name is Frederick Mawanda Rimsaja Mlangira, and my question, actually it's not a question, but I'm just commenting on what our previous lawyers have just mentioned, Samari and Nsamba. Basically, to me, I think our lawyers need to improve on their publicity. To me, that's what I would think. Me, I came in Canada in 2019 in October, but I've just learned about Nsamba. I think it was 2 weeks back. I think it was in some Zoom presenting some, I think was presenting on some, the current pathways, PR pathways. But all the time I've been here, I'm almost making 2 years, but I didn't know about him. Obviously I knew about Samali, but we met, I think, at the church, Dominion Church some time back, I think like 6 months back. To me, I think our people need to improve on their publicity. And also, for me, when I came here, I stayed in a shelter at Danforth before I went to 5800, the refugee shelter. The only lawyer that people were talking about was Dennis, blah, 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 blah. And that's the only name we do hear about, like we do hear Ugandans talking about. But again, they were not talking about him about only good stuff. They were saying, Pinaro Uganda, but Yematira. He doesn't meet up with appointments, blah, 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 blah. So basically the information we were getting from our people here who have been here for years about the Ugandan lawyers were all negative. To me, I ended up getting a Nigerian lawyer, not because I didn't want to support my Ugandan lawyers, but because of the information I got. And the only lawyer they were talking about in the shop I was staying in was Dennis. We didn't know about Samali, we didn't know about Nsamba. Recently, I just attended a Zoom meeting. I think Nsamba was facilitating it, and that's when I came to know about him. And actually, it sounded to be somebody good, me. So I think you guys, before you say we look at the mentality of white lawyers, but also you need to improve your publicity in us. Me, I stayed at the shelter at 5800 Young Street, the refugee shelter. We used to have a lot of lawyers coming from Matthew's house, these other refugee organizations, but we never received any lawyer from the Ugandan community coming to brief us about the work they are doing. And yet it was free, it was open. All kinds of people used to come. And we used to meet them. So you guys, you need to increase your publicity. Don't just sit back in the offices and think we shall look for you. Also, you need to market yourselves. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Frederick. Good point. You know, that can be another topic around publicizing ourselves as people in this field, but maybe I will allow Joyce and Samali to respond.
Mukulu, who has given that comment, thank you so much. Just as I commented previously, there were not many lawyers. Actually, many of these, like Council Samba, I think graduated last year. Migrations consultant Joyce graduated this year, at the end of last year. Council Summary graduated some time back, but was not in this community in us for about 2 years back. So we are sorry that we did not come to you, but as I said, we were almost not there. But now here we are. Use us. We will do whatever you want us to do. We will publicize ourselves. We'll come to the community. We'll come to you. We will come to the shelters. We'll come to the community gatherings. But in most times, as you said, you've met some of us on the Zoom. You met some of us in the church. You've met some of us in the community. We are there. We are community members. We are here to work for the community. So we are always there, but we were not there then. So now we are here. Yes.
You said it well.
Yeah.
You said it well, Senga Joyce.
Thank you. Yeah.
But also, I think just to add, Frederick and anyone listening, you can also support us by publicizing us within your community connections. We can't all come to shelters looking for clients. Yeah, we can't. Maybe where Dennis Olwedo is today, that's not where he was 3 years ago. Yeah. And so maybe we are not in competition. You know, all the three people here work alongside Dennis and other lawyers. There's a couple of other lawyers within the Ugandan community doing immigration law, but they are hardly known. We hosted one in July of last year, Henry Okello something. And there is 2 women, there is paralegals doing immigration related work. But the reason maybe we also need to ask, why aren't we out there? Why aren't we known? Yet we are practicing. That's a reflective question. Summary, and we end. It's 10 minutes after 6 in Toronto. And in Kampala, I don't know the time.
Yeah, like I would say hi, but think about it. It's been the COVID. Matthew House was happening when I last year married. Before I was working for the Crown, I couldn't even disclose where I was working, even my location being there. So right now,
Somebody, can you tell us what's the Crown?
I was working for the government. I was working as a criminal, like a lawyer for the government for criminal cases. That's where I was working, and I couldn't. For security reasons, we couldn't even disclose what we're doing, where we were. When I would come into the community, I would be like a normal person. I wouldn't tell you exactly that I'm working here because of our security. Well, before I was working as a lawyer in an immigration law firm, but it wasn't mine. So I couldn't promote it with publicity. I was still studying. I wasn't really a lawyer working as a lawyer there. So there are so many things that we could have done to promote ourselves. But at the same time, we also understand that it's a big market. Everyone is, it's actually a small community, and everyone is trying to get to you people to tell you that they're their best, they can do the work that you're doing. You want them to do. So at the end of the day, we can't say that we are going to reach everybody, but we try our level best and try. We are here. Use us if you want. You now know Council Samba, you know Senga Joyce, you know me. If you're feeling more comfortable with Council Samba, you go to Council Samba. Sometimes it's actually about comfortability. We are not in competition like Henry said, but we can help. We work so hand in hand with all these councils. You would even be very surprised. If I had an issue that I can not handle, I would send you immediately to Council Samba. And I'll say, Council, can you help? If you had something that you wanted me to help, especially in the community, I'll be like, oh, okay, yes, I can take it on. Or no, maybe you know what, I'm really full right now. Maybe let me send it back to you, or maybe let's look for someone else. Let's look for Dennis. I have no problem with Dennis, but maybe someone else could. So it's all about us helping each other. It's a community that's small. We are trying our level best to publicize ourselves, but we can only do what we can. We can't do what we can't do eventually because of the COVID. So we can't go to Matthew House. We can't go to all the shelters because they will not even let us in. It's COVID. So we are trying, but thank you for attending today. Thank you for checking us out on our Zooms. That's the best way we can publicize ourselves right now.
And thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to come to an end. People in Kampala are asking me inbox that they still have time. They want us to continue. And also the messages were coming. Unfortunately, we may not have the time. But I just want to read a few things that maybe we can continue with next time. There was someone who was responding to Judith, to Debbie. She said, we need to cultivate an attitude of due diligence. Follow up on all your information. 6 months is too long to wait. And also check in on your status. Call the appropriate contacts or email them to follow up on your progress. That was someone who was saying they haven't heard from immigration in like 6 months. The other person talked about who are the recommended psychological assessment doctors acceptable to IRC. That is very specific. Again, maybe Council Samba, Samali, Joyce can answer that in private. King Arthur says, I think the main problem has always been brainwashed from a few called Canada veterans who believe they know the system in and out. As a newcomer with zero information, you end up falling in these wrong circles, hence driving you away from people who actually can help you. Yeah, that's very important. Many of us who have been here, we think we know it all. We know the system and we brainwash people. Yeah, I don't know whether you've had such. That was a private message. The so-called Canadian veterans. It's 1 o'clock in Kampala, but still glued here. Thank you, Mia. Those are the questions. So friends from this side where I am, in Atlantic Canada, and to everyone who has joined us across the globe, thank you. I want to have a last last pitch from Joyce and Samali and Samba, and we will call it an evening. Joyce, what are your takeaway messages? We didn't cover all the questions that we came for, but this was good. What do you take away from this?
Thank you so much, Henry, and my colleagues, Samalin, Samba, and whoever is there. Thank you, everyone who came in to listen to us. My take from today is you are good people, you are good listeners, and you are good participants. So the question
has our mental health improved? Or we are more stressed?
Our mental health has improved because the questions have been answered. And once the questions have been answered, that
not all
means
of them.
People are contented. At least, you cannot do it all, but at least 90% have been answered. And I'm sure by you answering those questions, people's panic, anxiety, worry, at least I think you've been calmed down a bit. And I'm sure Henry is going to organize another meet soon, maybe now 2 weeks or so. He will tell us.
Actually, New African Canadians organizing. I'm just
okay, you are a facilitator.
I work with King Arthur, William Kamansasira, Mark Luvulwa, so many people. Yeah.
Okay, so people there that have been mentioned and others that have not been mentioned, I also want to thank you so much, I would say, for hosting us and giving us a platform to talk to our fellow people of the world, because I know we've come from all walks of life. So what I want to say that we are here for you. We'll invite us, we will come back. Send your questions, we are here for you. I am an immigrations consultant. At the same time, I am an interpreter of 1, 2, 3 languages. Mainly, I would say Luganda and Swahili. So we are here for you. Come with your questions, we'll answer them. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, everyone, all the participants. Come again.
Thank you, Singer Joyce, grandmother and mother.
Thank you.
Samali and Gerard.
Yeah. Thank you, Henry, for organizing this. This was a very informative, actually, conversation. We thank you for all your questions, for attending, for coming to support us, for all the ways you've supported us, Ugandans. We appreciate, and everyone else who supports us, not only Ugandans, but everyone who supports us. We really appreciate you. Continue to spread the word. We are here for you. If you have any questions, please come by, ask us, call us. You have our contacts. If you don't have our contacts, you can contact someone. We have helped so many people so far, and we know that we can do this. We can help you out. Please do not sit on yourself. Do not sit at home and think, oh, I can't, this problem is too big for me. I can't contact my lawyer. Please contact them. They will come up with all kinds of problems, all kinds of solutions. You'll be very surprised at how easy your solutions, your problem can become when you contact someone with information. We have all the information. Come to us. We'll be willing to help you. Yeah, that's all I can say. Thank you so much for coming, and let's meet soon.
Thank you, Councillor Samali and Mukulu Gerard Nsamba. Council.
Thank you, Mukulu Yombia. Before I make my last remarks, actually, Kabwama asked one question which nobody answered, but I can just give a brief answer to it. He did ask if someone is being ordered by Refugee Protection Division to provide evidentiary document in support of their claim, and at the same time, they have the interest to apply for the pathway as frontliner worker. Which direction should they take? My answer to that is you always have to comply with the Refugee Protection Division demands first. Why? Because it's really paramount. The moment you mess up with that house, you're in trouble, okay? One reason I will give to that will be if they ask you to provide certain documentation and you fail to do that, there are a number of situations can happen. One, the significant one will be your case or your asylum case can be deemed as abandoned. So which means we'll put you in a situation where you have to leave the country. But if you comply to their demand first, then you have the ground to deal with another option, which will be apply for pathway. The same time this application is the pipeline. So whoever comes to you back first, then you go with that. But if you just say, oh, the pathway is already available to me and I need to get this done, and you neglect your refugee protection division demand, you could be in trouble. So always you need to balance your interest when you're dealing with refugee protection division demand. So my closing remarks will be, Mukulu Frederick Omulangira, webale nnyo ensonga gy'oleese kanjogera mu Luganda gw'oli musajja Muganda. Nkulu nnyo era twetaaga okubeera nti tumanyiddwa mu community. Kyannaku nti abantu abamu batumanyi in a negative way olw'ensonga zaabwe endala, era ekyo tetusobola kukikola kukijjawo kubanga abantu waliwo abantu abajja okubanga tebakwagala naye nga tulina kye wabakola naye nga they don't like you. Okitegeera abamu they are jealous, babadde wano emyaka mingi ensi ebakubye ne balaba omuntu avuddeyo nekino ne kikukyaya, ekyo nakyo weekiri
balina fitina
omuntu bamuadvertisinze teweewuunya, waliwo reasons ezibeerawo, buli muntu alina choice. Ekyokubiri, my door is open. If anybody needs my assistance, even at 2 a.m., I answer the calls unless I'm deeply asleep. But I tend to return calls within the reasonable time. I tend to give people a hearing, time. I tend to assist people as much as I can. So please approach us. We are here. We've been educated to support our community. This is the reason why white people give us the chance to go to their universities, to come back and support our community, not to support their community, because they have already people who support them. But we are here because of you guys. So please use us. Don't feel ashamed. If somebody says something negative about somebody, judge it yourself. Do not jump on bandwagon. Judge it yourself. Give somebody a chance until they fail themselves. Thank you very much.
And we are going to support you.
Thank you, Mr. Gerard Nsamba, and also to Joyce and Samali, and to everyone really who was attended. I wish we could answer all those questions. There is a few. I have saved the chat, and I'll try to go through with my team, our team, to make sure we don't lose that. Like we said in the beginning, we could not answer everything. We've gone over by 1 hour, but I think it is worthwhile. I cannot thank enough the people who have joined us from East Africa and West Africa and across the world, because they believe this information is useful. In summary, we've talked about how lawyers are very important to help us in our preparation. We didn't get into the evidence part, but at least we talked about the need to consult with your lawyers. Please note that this information that you've learned here should not be used as legal advice. Contact your lawyer. That's the disclaimer we had. But also I know that we talked about the different issues, whether it is pathway, the new pathway. We briefly talked about the visa programs that different. Canada has over 40 programs that you can come to through. So please get in touch with us. And but also when you are here, there is a lot that we can do together. As new African Canadians, I think we are proud of ourselves in being that component that is getting people together. Mr. Nsamba raises a very good point around, not leaving the naysayers. oluusi banaye tetusobola kwepromotinga kujja kugamba nti munanyagala ba clients kubanga oluusi tuba n'ebirala ebyokukola naye ate oluusi nga n'abantu batwogeddeko ebirala. So for me, my belief is I know people are good, including those who hurt others. Maybe they haven't dealt with certain things from the past. So we continue doing good, just like Mr. Ansam, just like Joyce, just like Samali. Yeah. In the end, we believe in our community. If our community is stronger, if we have legal status, we will get permanent residency, then we will grow economically. We will grow as a community. So I cannot again emphasize the need for unity. Whether you are gay or straight, whether you are Muslim or Christian, whether you're a citizen or a refugee claimant, we all matter. And if we do matter, then we need to collectively work together. The sky is the limit. Canada is a beautiful place. Those who are joining us from Uganda, we will be welcoming you. And this is the land of opportunities and chances, but also we have many challenges. We can confront them as a collective. From me, Henry Lyombia, and my wife, Olivia, we wish you the very best. Have a good evening and be safe. Happy Mother's Day to those celebrating.
We need somebody's phone number.
Thank you. Phone number. The official meeting has ended. Then abachaliwo, you can chat naye ffe tumaze. Thank you. Sebo genda mu chat